From time to time, when reading Celtic mythology, I come across the term the never-ending Summerland. Now, I kind of instinctively know what the never-ending Summerland is, but for those of you that are not quite sure, then why don't you jump in and come on a ride, and we'll take a journey to explore this never-ending Summerland. The everlasting Summerland is described in various myths as a land of abundance, joy, and eternal youth. It's a place where there aren't any wars and people don't get old and sick, and everybody lives in a harmonious relationship with nature, and they have no needs or wants. To the Brythonic Celts, it was known as a Nuvin, and to the Gaelic Celts, Tir na Nog. So where is this place then? And how do we get there? And can we go and visit? Well, the answer to the last question is yes, and many Celts did. But we'll get to that part of the discussion a bit later. Some people say this place exists under the ground. Others say it's under the sea. Then others tell us that you reach it by travelling westwards across the sea towards the setting sun. So this must be the Celtic Underworld then. I mean, the myths tell us you get there by exactly the same means. Under the ground, under the water, or westward across the sea? And the answer to that question is yes, but only a part of the underworld. Mythology tells us that the Celtic underworld was further subdivided into various subworlds and domains, such as we see in many of the Irish narratives, such as the Voyage of Bran, where Bran visits many worlds in his voyage before returning back to Ireland. And what he does, he was in for a big shock. And that shock was, the myth tells us, that when the first man left the boat and put his feet on the soils of Ireland, he turned immediately to ash. You see, this underworld, apart from all its other unusual features, has another anomaly. Time moves differently in the underworld. Sometimes it's faster and sometimes slower. And in the case of Bran, when he returned, all the people he had known had died and many centuries had passed. Hence, when the first man set ashore, time instantly caught up with him, and he was turned to dust. Then in other stories we hear of people who seemed to have gone or felt they had gone for years, but when they returned, they were surprised to find that only minutes or hours had passed. There is some debate as to whether or not this is the place you go to when you die. For sure they say that you'll go to the underworld, but is it this world, or is it the other worlds, such as the world where people don't talk and only smile? Or could it be that you find yourself in the land of many colours, or the plain of silver clouds? Or perhaps the land of savage beasts that devour each other and is drenched in blood? The Underworld is said to be the world of the dark gods and the ancestors, and the place of the little people, the fair folk, and sometimes they come to visit our world to grant or ask for favours. So this is a spiritual realm, a realm that exists in parallel and in conjunction with the material world that we all know. A world that may be accessed or exited by both parties, one that was no doubt visited by the Celtic shaman for the purposes of gaining guidance, wisdom and knowledge. And it's quite easy to believe that such myths and legends and stories had a spiritual root and a spiritual metaphor behind them. So the never-ending Summerland, one of the many worlds that existed within the Celtic Underworld, a land of bliss and joy and time that has no meaning. And I don't know about you, but being born of Saturn on a midsummer's day, it's certainly the never-ending Summerland for me. A place to rest in peace and tranquility. So if you've all enjoyed today's discussion, then don't forget to give us a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel if you're not already. And with that, I'll see you again very soon on the next one.